So they're banning TikTok. They passed a TikTok bill, 352 to 65 in the House. 15 Republicans voted no. 50 Democrats voted no. Really? Really? So that's a very big yes vote still. Too bad we could never get 352 votes for children's health care infrastructure or, well, anything. So get this. Lead sponsor of the TikTok bill, Representative Mike Gallagher, a Republican from Wisconsin, admits that the real reason that they're rushing to ban TikTok is because it's becoming the dominant news platform for Americans under 30. And the U.S. government doesn't control it like the other platforms. You think I'm kidding? Let's watch this.
The only impacted sites are those associated with foreign adversary apps, such as TikTok.com. It can never be used to penalize individuals. The text explicitly prohibits that, and it cannot be used to censor speech. It takes no position at all on the content of speech, only foreign adversary control. Foreign adversary control of what is becoming the dominant news platform for Americans under 30.
So there it is. So they can't control the narrative on TikTok, and that's what this is about. And when do you become a foreign adversary? The minute you say something that the establishment disagrees with. That's when you're a foreign adversary. So, and they will shut you down harder than Tower Records.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
He wouldn't get on board with the impeachment of Mayorkas from the NHS. He's on like a China committee. So he's probably connected. I'm sure he's connected to McConnell or some crap like that. Like, he's a scumbag, this guy.
On one side, I hate the way China spies on us on social media. But on the other hand, I love Panda Express. Anyway.
I thought they used balloons to do it.
Anybody telling the truth is going to be called a foreign adversary. So China are absolutely essential material trading partner. They make all the shit we use in America. They're also our foreign adversary. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That almost sounds like American power magnate Prescott Bush's funding of certain burgeoning political party in Germany in the 1930s.
Yeah, well, he took the hit for Rockefeller on that. China, we're doing our COVID research. Don't forget, we went back to the Wuhan lab, and we're once again with our adversary working on gain of function at the Wuhan lab with our adversary.
Just like Kurt, when the New York Times wrote the hit piece on YouTubers saying we're all white supremacists and we're radicalizing children. The reason is why we are actually more popular than the establishment media. And that's what this is. 100 million people watch TikTok every day for 90 minutes. So people are getting their news there. And so this is all about that. The establishment can't control the narrative anymore. And it's not, if you need more proof of this, Gallagher also falsely states that the bill cannot penalize individuals, as though blocking millions of Americans from their preferred social media platform is not a penalty. Let's listen to what he said again. I want to make sure we hear the whole thing.
The only impacted sites are those associated with foreign adversary apps, such as TikTok.com. It can never be used to penalize individuals. The text explicitly prohibits that, and it cannot be used to censor speech. It takes no position at all on the content of speech, only foreign adversary control. Foreign adversary control of what is becoming the dominant news platform for Americans under 30. This is a common sense measure to protect our national security. I urge my colleagues to support this critical bipartisan legislation.
So, of course, he's lying.
Yeah.
He falsely states that the bill cannot penalize individuals, as though blocking millions of Americans from their preferred social media platform is not a penalty, and denies that the ban would censor speech, even though it would explicitly prevent Americans from expressing speech on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, Mike Gallagher's retiring, too, this year. He's not running for re-election, so this is one last from hell's heart he's stabbing at That's why he'd lie like that. There's no penalties for him next year. He's leaving anyway. So this is probably one. I'm sure he's getting paid off in some way.
And what Michael Tracy needs to realize is that we are dealing with people who are really heavily into the penalization thing. You know what I mean?
Sanctions.
What might seem like a very insulting affront to us is probably nothing to some politician who needs to be strapped into a leather harness while hookers beat him like a piñata. Only way he can achieve an erection. Then during orgasm, he shouts, "Subpoena!"
I would like him handed over to the Taliban.
Caitlin Johnstone says, probably worth bumping this clip for public awareness at this time.
Oh, yeah.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
We have a major TikTok problem. This is leaked audio of the ADL chief. That's the Anti-Defamation League. Those are the people who call everybody anti-Semites.
Right.
The Anti-Defamation League's chief executive officer, Jonathan Greenblatt, freaking out because global youth aren't buying Israel's propaganda anymore. You want it? So this is why this is happening. Okay, here we go.
All the polling I've seen, ADL's polling, ICC's polling, independent polling, suggests this is not a left-right gap, folks. The issue in the United States in support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And the numbers of young people who think that Hamas's, massacre was justified is shockingly and terrifyingly high. And so we really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem, that our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Taglit, the same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations, need to put our energy toward this, fast. Because again, we've been chasing this left-right divide. It's the wrong game. The real game
is the next generation. So there you have it. And if you think that this is about fighting back against the Chinese government mining our information, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they all got your information. And if China wanted it, they could just buy it from them. Okay? That this is about the establishment not being able to control the narrative anymore. And 1 out of 3 people in America watches TikTok for 90 minutes a day, getting their information from them. That's what this is about. This is about censorship. This is about the billionaire class control of information. And if you think that this is somehow fighting the Communist Party of, if we wanted to fight the Communist Party of China, why did we send all our manufacturing to China? What? How are we ever
making our viruses there?
Why are we making our viruses there? So you're a sucker again if you believe the establishment narrative about anything. But I'm sure everyone who watches MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News and reads the Washington Post and the New York Times is going to believe this shit, that somehow TikTok is the. But you know what? Actually, the majority of people don't want this actually banned in America. So according to polling, most of the people are against this. But of course, you don't live in a democracy, which is why it doesn't matter what the majority of people want. The majority of people don't want the Gaza bombing to keep going on. Doesn't matter. The majority of people want healthcare that doesn't bankrupt them. Doesn't matter. The majority of people want to end the foreign wars and invest that money back in our country. It's never happening. Okay. So it doesn't matter what you want. You want a functioning infrastructure. You're not getting it. You want education that doesn't bankrupt you. You're not getting it. You want a healthcare system that doesn't bankrupt you. You're not getting it. You want them to put a couple of $1 billion into solving homelessness. That could, instead of putting $113 billion into Ukraine, that could have solved homelessness 5 times over. You're not getting it. You don't live in a democracy. So that's why when people say that January 6th undermined our democracy, that is just propaganda, because you don't live in a democracy. You live in an oligarchy. And the fact that I'm allowed to say this on YouTube, which probably gets demonetized, they demonetize anything that I say that goes up against that. And that's another form of censorship. And then they'll just kick you off outright, right? Look what they did to Jackson Hinkle. Jackson Hinkle's no longer allowed on YouTube. Why? What did he do? What did Jackson? He's now just as bad as Alex Jones.
You said Russia wasn't broke from the sanctions, right?
He said Russia wasn't broke from the sanctions. He went to Russia and showed you the truth, all that stuff. And so again, Jackson Hinkle's in trouble for telling the truth, not for lying.
Did you see what he said about the brains they gave us, Taglit? Do you know what that is?
No.
It's Taglit, birthright. So my ex-girlfriend went on a birthright trip to Israel. That's where they get young Jewish college students on their birthright trip, some group and they take them on vacation. They hope the kids bang and get pregnant because it's some kind of like propaganda thing for settlement, more settlement, and populating Israel. So that's what he means by the same brains that gave us the birthright trip needs to get their heads together to stop TikTok. That's what the fuck that's about. I hate that guy.
And it's like, and it's like, hey, this isn't the usual left-right thing that we can usually exploit to divide people.
Right.
That's what he's saying. It's like we can't use the same old tactic to divide people. Hey, come see us do a live stand-up show. We're going to be in Stockholm, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, London, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Edmonton, Alberta, Vancouver, British Columbia, and Denver, Colorado. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.